So we've all been told that success leaves clues. And we know that there's some amazing things that you should be doing and that you shouldn't be doing if you're someone who is going to be successful. We need to learn from the people that have already been there and done that, because success leaves clues. So right now, let's dive into 4 of the most critical negatives that you've got to not do if you want to be successful. Okay team, so there's always stories, articles, blogs, videos, all that type of stuff about the things you have to do and, to be successful. And there tends to be a really long list, which can get a little bit daunting. But one of the best ways to actually approach this is to actually flip that on its head and look at a couple of things that you need to stop doing, because a lot of the time it's easier, in most cases, it's a lot easier to stop doing things than what it is to actually start things. To be really successful, there might be 20 different things that you've got to concentrate on, but they might take extra time. They might take months to develop. Maybe there's some new systems. Maybe you need to actually have another team member involved, which is going to take time to get the right person, train them up, move forward, systemize, automate. Maybe it's a matter of you having to learn more about certain avenues and changing behaviors. Those things can be really tough and take a lot of time and effort. So if you want to go for the low-hanging fruit and make some of the biggest changes straight up, quite often the best thing you can do is actually be in a scenario where you go for stopping certain things and stopping behaviors before you go for what to start with. And that's what today's podcast is all about. It's the 4 negatives that are most crucial for you to succeed in allied health right now that you need to stop doing and make sure that you don't do. So here's the thing. You're probably going to hear these, and I'm going to be completely honest with you and play above the line. Every single one of these 4, when I was thinking about before pressing the record button, I was thinking I've caught myself in the last 1 or 2 weeks doing all these 4 things at different times. So no one's perfect, but it's the ability to catch yourself doing it or about to do it and stop and make that change and move forward that's going to ultimately give you more success. So let's get diving in straight away right now and understand that you'll be able to resonate with every one of these 4, but we want to try and cut them out because that's where you're going to get the most benefit straight away. The first one is that successful people don't worry about things they can't control, which might sound really fundamentally simple, and you might go, yeah, I know that. But to know and not to do is not to know, which a famous Asian guy once said that. To know and not to do is not to know. So you might be sitting there folding your arms going, oh, I know that. But I guarantee if you play above the line on this, somewhere in the last week or 2, you've actually been worried about things that are outside of your control. You can't control things that are going to happen in the industry all the time. You can't control what's going to happen in regards to what if there's a fire or what if there's a flood. What if, what happens if my referrers, they all dry up? What if they don't do, and you start hyperventilating. Guys, chill out. You can't control what you can't control. So there's no use worrying about the things you can't control. You got to get away from that. There's too many things in life that you could worry about that are in your control that you need to focus on. So don't worry about what you can't control and just focus on what you can control, because then you can make sure that those negatives that you were worried about in the first place will never actually occur. You don't need to worry about whether referrers are going to be referring, because if you're proactive about the right strategies on the marketing side, they just won't. So there's no use worrying about what's not going to happen. What's going to happen with the industry in 5 years' time, there's no use worrying about it. Just actually work out where it's going, what you need to do, and control that scenario. So number 1, guys, don't worry about the things you can't control. Number 2, people that are very successful in our industry don't actually hang out with negative people. We see so much negativity in our industry. We see it in society. We hear it and we feel it, unfortunately, across digital channels like social media, more so and more prevalent than ever before. There's a reason why the vast majority of really successful people don't actually read papers. They don't get themselves involved with mainstream media. Why? Because it's all based on negativity. Channel 9 News, Channel 7 News at 6 o'clock. It's all based on the first 4 or 5 things. 9 out of 10 nights are based on deaths and murders and, you know, the criticism of politics and shit that's gone wrong, right? You don't want to be socializing with that type of mentality. So here's the thing. If you want to be successful, the second big negative that you need to be avoiding is spending a lot of time with negative people. Do you notice that the like attracts like? And we know that the power of attraction is actually huge. So if you're actually with people all the time that are negative, that are always pessimistic, it's going to drag you down. You want to make sure that you're with people that are positive, that are influential, that are actually doing the best things and that are right for you moving forward. And we see it on social media all the time. Everyone wants to whinge. Everyone wants to have a whinge about that person, this person, blah, blah, blah. And it fuels all the keyboard warriors typing away, going nah, like this, and then the backwards and forwards and twos and fros. And what it actually does is it gets you focusing on the negatives. You're focusing on being critical. You don't open your eyes up to what's ahead. You keep trying to work around in your small circle, put your head down, etc., when you should be looking up for opportunity, looking up to innovate, look up to be creative, to go where the puck's going, not where the puck already is. To quote one of the greatest hockey players of all time, Wayne Gretzky, used to always say, I always would go where the puck was going, not where the puck actually is. So here's number 2, guys, is make sure that if you want to be productive and successful, don't hang around with negative people, because all it's going to do is just weigh you down, create a bigger mindset for you to actually talk about all the rubbish and the negativity and the ranting, the whinging, and you're going to bleed more of that out into your environment. And that's not what is best for growth. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is productive and successful people, they don't ever dwell on their mistakes. And I had this exact scenario, which is why I wanted to put this into today's podcast. I had this exact scenario with one of my clients yesterday. She's only just started working with me. She's only been with me for a couple of weeks, and we need to break that mentality that she has at the moment of dwelling on the past mistakes. So yeah, a few things happened a couple of months ago and 6 months before that and 12 months, etc. And she's only been in business about 2.5 years. And every time we talk to her, and I'm going to keep saying she, which doesn't sound great, but I don't want to use her name, right? She keeps saying to me, oh yeah, but Jason, I remember when I did a blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, great. And then we move forward. And then later in the conversation, she'll say, yeah, well, about 12 months ago, I did such and such. And then because of this, that happened. And that then cost me blah, blah, blah. And then you might be talking to her about something completely different. And she'll be like, yeah, well, we screwed that up last month with da-da-da-da. And so the challenge that we start finding in that situation is she's always wanting to go back, look in the rearview mirror too long, and she's just dwelling on her past mistakes. It's like when we hear, it's exactly the same as when we hear someone say, oh, going and doing doctor's visits doesn't work. You know, working on referral channels and word of mouth marketing doesn't work. You know, you've got to throw money at, Facebook advertising or something like that. Here's the thing, there is no golden bullet. There's no perfect solution that's guaranteed to work for everyone. You need to know your targets. You need to know where they are in their highest demographic, all right, the highest concentration, sorry. You need to know what they want, where they want to actually do it, why they're actually buying that, and talk to them. The copy side of things about where you market has to be the last part, which most people get wrong. But that topic's for another day. What you need to focus on more than anything is not dwelling on the past mistakes. Have I made mistakes? God, yeah, I could tell you God knows how many stories. I actually, in many respects, most of the time, like making mistakes, because what it tells me I'm doing is I'm doing something new, something different. And yes, I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to fall forward, right? I'm going to take the lesson. The real mistake is actually not taking that lesson. So make a mistake, and when you make a mistake, learn the lesson, make the changes and move on, knowing that if you're smart and you're going to be successful and you're productive about things moving forward, you won't make that mistake again because you've taken the learning from it. So we acknowledge the fact that we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to do that. We can't avoid it. But take the learning from it and don't dwell on past mistakes. Because if you do, you create that downward spiral. You create that negativity that you're always going to make mistakes. You'll start having preconceived ideas that doesn't work, that doesn't work, this doesn't work, nah, nah, nah. And before you know it, you'll be sitting there going, well, what else can I do? I can't do this, can't do that, because that doesn't work. And all of a sudden you'll get stuck. You'll start spinning your wheels and you'll wonder why you're getting more frustrated. It's not because there's anything wrong with the industry. It's not because that fundamentally nothing works, etc. And you'll get quite desperate, all right, frustrated, angry, all because you're dwelling on past mistakes and you're not looking for the lesson. So here's the thing that you've got to learn right now. Like all of us, we have to take the lesson from the mistakes and not dwell on those past mistakes. And that leaves us to number 4. The fourth big negative that all successful and productive people in the business world do, that we need to do in our health business, is not focus on what other people are doing. Don't worry about what's happening with your competitor down the road. Don't worry if they've got some whiz-bang new thing or blah, blah, blah. All right? Yes, your competitors will do the right thing at times. They will actually get some of your clients at different times to act as the way you would want to. And you might be sitting there going, ultimately, at the end of the day, you're only jealous that they did it and it's worked for them. That's all it is, right? Here's the thing. Don't dwell on what they're doing. Don't look at what they're doing. Focus on what you're doing. We know the Russian proverb is in place that says, man who tries to catch 2 rabbits will never actually catch either. All right? And Jay Paterson puts it at the front of his book, The One Thing. He has that exact Russian proverb at the start of that book, and that's focusing on the one thing. That's the whole premise of the book, right? I won't give you away the whole book, but all right, and there's a lot more to it than just the title. But here's the thing, successful, productive people in our industry don't focus on what they're doing down the road. I don't care, and nor should you. You should be focused on what you're good at, what your niches are, what you can give to people, how you can be the best possible option and solution for the person and the problem and the challenge that they're actually having. Reduce the risk, reduce the friction, put the right guarantees into place, create a wow customer experience that they love coming there so they wake up in the morning and go, yes, I get to go and see my physio, I get to go and see my EP, I get to go and etc. That's what your job is to do, is to focus on doing the positive side of what you're doing, what you're providing, and how you're going to move forward. You keep your head up, you're looking around, you're looking for opportunities. What can we take from other industries and build into our industry to make it bigger and better and provide that service ultimately, because we should be serving our clients. So don't focus on what other people are doing. And that's the 4th big key that successful, productive people don't actually do. And so they're the 4 negatives that you need to think about. Just to recap, you've got to make sure that you don't worry about the things that you can't control. You're not hanging out with negative people that are going to pull you down and make you get into that spiral. You're not going to dwell on past mistakes because it just wastes time. You're going to take the lesson from it, move forward, and actually be more productive and successful as a result. And the last one is you're not going to focus on what other people are doing. Because, hey, you know what? Even if you focus on it, they're probably going to make mistakes and you're not going to know the inner workings, so you can't get the learnings. All you're going to do is see the mistake, and if you're just copying what they're doing, you're going to copy their mistakes, which is actually going to put you further behind. So team, let's not get ourselves behind. Let's not focus on other people. Don't hang around negative people. Don't worry about the things you can't control. Be awesome and amazing at what you do. Focus on your strengths. Focus on your team, what you can do, what you can be amazing at doing, creating that wow experience, because that's going to lead more success your way. You're going to get more success, momentum grows, and as I said before, like attracts like. When you're around positive people, successful people, learning from those that have been there and done that before, you will get the same success that rolls forward as a net result. So think about those 4 things. Don't get caught up in that 4-way cycle of negativity that I just explained. Be smart about this. Learn from our mistakes. Be positive. Hang around positive people. Only worry about the things you can control. Systemize things, put it in place, make that change that you know that you can influence, and you watch the success and the productivity and everything that you want and are aiming for will start flowing your way. Have a great day. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.